Half-Shell Oyster House offers happy hour at the bar and throughout the restaurant every day from 3 to 6 p.m. Happy hour includes $2 off all glasses of wine, liquor, martinis, mixed drinks, and draft beer, $2.50 on all domestic bottled beer, and $3.50 on all craft bottled beer. So come on out to Half-Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Lower Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi 39232, or you can give them a call at 769-257-7586. And hey, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. As you know, in March, we acknowledge Women's History Month, and we've had some amazing women on the show these last few weeks, doing amazing things not only in their careers, but also in the community. But today is so special for me. I have admired this woman since I was a little girl, and I'm so excited to have her on the show today. You just have no clue. Please welcome movie film actress and former dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts of Alabama State University, Dr. Tommie Tonea Stewart. Hi, Dr. Stewart. How are you today?
I'm fine, Sanja. Thank you so much. I'm really excited about this opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you. No, thank you. You have no clue. This has made my whole year. I really appreciate this. So you probably, I don't, well, you know this. I know your son, Alan. We actually started at Provine together and Jackson State, but we were not friends at first for many years. Because you know your son, so we used to be friends. But we've been friends for the last 20 years. And when I say Alan is such an amazing guy, we were on the phone a couple of Saturdays ago, about an hour, and he was giving me some advice on starting a business. I'm so proud of him. He's doing some amazing things.
Well, he got that honestly. His dad is like that, always giving advice and directions, and they're pretty sound too.
He gave me really sound advice. He really did. You guys did a great job. You really did. So, Dr. Stewart, let's get into it. So, Dr. Stewart, when did your love for acting begin?
Oh, that's a hard one because I'm not sure that it was well, yeah, you're right. When did it begin? Because initially my goal was to become a medical doctor. And while in school, in the public schools, and actively involved at church, I was constantly given speeches to make and having to stand up before people and talk. And then in high school, Mrs. Leola G. Williams in Greenwood, Mississippi, put me on the stage in productions. I was in plays at church and in little pageants at elementary and junior high, but I was really an actress in high school under the leadership and tutelage of Mrs. Leola G. Williams, a dynamic woman who really made her students feel like they had something to offer. But she was always the one to point out what that something was. And we trusted her and believed her. And I'm glad we did, because I fell in love with the whole idea of taking on another person's character, their life in those plays. One play was called Footfalls, and we won the state competition with Footfalls. I was a mother in Footfalls, and I won Best Actress. Playing that role and winning that recognition as Best Actress in the state really gave me a boost. It made me feel like, wow, this is great. But I still had that deep desire to become a medical doctor. So my scholarship to Jackson State University was in biology. And at Mississippi Valley State University, it was in music, singing. And at the Ohio State University, it was in English.
Wow.
So I chose Jackson State because it was close enough to home, yet far enough away from Greenwood. And going to Ohio was just out of the question for me.
Right.
I knew no one there. And so at Jackson State, I'm in biology and studying the sciences until my professor, Dr. Washington, George Washington, brought a raccoon to the class and was
Mhm.
going to teach us to dissect and to look at the inside. I was okay with that part, but the hair on the raccoon,
Oh my gosh.
I do not like hairy animals. I do not like, it was too much like a cat. And
Mm,
a cat is my major fear. I have a phobia about cats. So,
really?
oh
Okay.
yeah, so I had to, I bagged my way out of the classroom. And I didn't know that he had noticed my leaving. So he came out in the hallway where I was leaning against the wall and I was sliding down to a squat, crying, because I
Mm.
knew that I could not be a part of dissecting that raccoon. And when he talked with me, I told him, please just forgive me. Could I talk with him tomorrow? So I ran across the campus to E.J. Fisher.
Mhm.
And he said, I don't know what has taken you so long to get here. I've judged you in many competitions. I've seen what you have to offer, and you should be over here in speech and theater. And I said, why do you think that? He said, because you're good at it. And I said, well, I need to change my major. He said, let's do it. And right then and there, I changed my
Wow.
major, and the love for the theater grew stronger for me.
That's amazing. So, it's God had to take a raccoon to get you to your calling.
Right, that's right.
Wow.
Because it's clear that, when you start walking on a path and
Mhm.
everything seemed to fall in place, that God is already doing the business. He knows what you're going to do before you know.
That's
And
true.
that's why it's best not to fight it. I
Yeah.
thought I knew, but I didn't know. And my 4 years at Jackson State University were glorious years.
Mhm.
We went into competition at the National Association of Dramatic and Speech Arts. And every year, we would either come in first place or second place. And
Wow.
every year, I was always in the competition as a, a candidate for Best Actress. So that was a good feeling. And uh, Jackson State was a place that embraced its students. The
Yeah.
teachers were into you. They wanted to know your dreams, your desires, and then they would tell you what they saw. And
Mhm.
they really looked into us and saw just like Miss Williams did. So I think my love grew stronger and stronger while at Jackson State, being a part of the theater, the Dunbar Dramatic Guild, and working under E.J. Fisher. Then we both ended up at UC Santa Barbara for a summer institute. Dr. Fisher went and I went, and we were 20 out of 400 applicants to be accepted in that institute. And
Wow.
it was there that I met the great Frank Silvera. And the man that pulled it all together, that institute, was Dr. William R. Reardon. And he was such a caring professor at Santa Barbara. And when he introduced me to Frank Silvera and I auditioned for all of those directors that they brought in, there was a big fuss over me. Frank Silvera
Oh.
wanted me to be in his show. Um, uh, Owen Dotson wanted me to be in his show. The guest director from Yugoslavia, Peru, Georgia Perot,
Mhm.
wanted me to be in his show. And there were 27 of us in the Institute, and they thought they had enough shows that would get everybody busy, had no idea that any one of us was going to cause confusion with all of the guest directors. And I was the one.
You were the one.
That didn't help me very much with the other 27 practitioners
Right.
because I became the person that folk didn't like.
Wow.
and
I can
and I
imagine.
had nothing to do with the war, the tug of war, I just gave my best.
Yes.
So Dr. Reardon kept me on uh, and allowed me to be a part of two of the shows out of three. And one was Contributions by Ted Shine, directed by Frank Silvera. And Frank Silvera got into my head, and the rest of it is history.
Wow.
He declared that he had found another gem. His first actress was Bea Richards. And he said, I can't believe I found another Bea.
Wow.
And I said, Bea? He said, oh, you wouldn't know who I'm talking about. And I said, I don't know. What is Bea? He said, the Bea Richards, Bea Richards. I said, oh yeah, I know her. You know Bea? I said, she's from Mississippi. He said, that's right. He said, where are you from? Mississippi. And that was a proud moment to say that I was from Mississippi. And he immediately, that weekend, drove Henry Brown and I with him to Los Angeles to meet Bea. And Bea was performing at the Inner City Cultural Center, her one-woman show, A Black Woman Speaks. And I got to witness that. Wow. And he told Bea, I want you to take her under your wings. And Bea looked at me kind of funny at that time. She wasn't too interested in taking me under her wings because she had a special place in Frank's heart and didn't want anyone else to take that spot. But we did the show, we toured the show. I was in the tour company from UC Santa Barbara, and we were doing 3 shows a day throughout the state of California and even into Mexico. And Owen Dotson directed me in Morning, Noon, and Night. Frank Silvera directed me in Contributions. And Georgia Perot came back in the fall and directed me in Uncle Marway. It was a world premiere. So I had a chance to have my name put in the script as a world premiere open performer for Uncle Marway. And Georgie Perot was a dynamic director as well. Owen Dotson was from Howard University, and I didn't know at the time that he and Frank knew each other. Owen Dotson introduced Frank to James Baldwin's play, The Amen Corner. So you see how all of this was stacking together. Right there with these giants, and Frank Silvera directed Bea Richards in The Amen Corner and took that show to Broadway, and it was the first African-American show ever produced, directed, financed, everything by African-Americans. And she did a fantastic job. Frank was upset when they did not give her an award for her performance because all of the critics even commented that that was a stellar performance. Wow. And he started the American Theater Being. I came back to Jackson State to teach, and I tried to implement what I understood of the American Theater Being. I was able to invite Bea Richards to come and even work with my students. Jay Unger was one that she just loved working with. It turned out, though, before all of that, that at the time to receive my master's degree, Frank was going to celebrate his role in a new show. And he wanted to celebrate my graduating from the master's program and Henry Brown graduating from the undergrad program. So he was throwing a party to introduce us to Hollywood. And accidentally, he went under the sink. His wife told him that the garbage disposal was needed to be dislodged. And he said, okay. And he got under there and tried to dislodge it and was instantly electrocuted.
Lord have mercy.
We lost him. And I lost so much at that time. I can't even remember, I still cannot remember the show he was doing. I can't remember how I got home because I know that I had to leave Santa Barbara because I had graduated. I know I did not participate in the graduation ceremony. I got home some kind of way. I must have flown. I was in a daze. Um,
Oh my, I'm so sorry that happened. Wow.
that was traumatic, very traumatic.
Mhm.
And Bia called me and said, Frank told me to put you under my wings.
Mm,
So I'm here now. He's gone, but I'm here.
that's
And
beautiful.
she's the person that decided that my name should be Tonea Stewart. She had some
Mhm.
kind of numbers thing that she would do to help people with their name. And whatever those numbers were, it told her that my name should be Tania.
I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
So,
it's been
Dr.
a journey.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful journey for you. How, what role would you consider was your big break?
I would say In the Heat of the Night, the series.
Yes,
Yeah,
Aunt Etta Kibbe.
that's right. Because right after that, we did A Time to Kill.
Hmm.
And I was not even, I didn't think I was being even considered for A Time to Kill. I was helping find the children to play Samuel Jackson's children in A Time to Kill because I had a summer camp um, where I worked with a lot of children, not only in Alabama, but from all over the country.
Mhm.
And I had a summer camp when I was at Jackson State every summer. And I had a summer camp in Dallas, Texas with Curtis King, my former student, who is now the CEO and an Emmy Award winning director
Mhm.
with the Black Academy of Arts and Letters. I was there when Erica Badu was in the camps. So she was like my baby, and she calls me
Mhm.
Aunt Tommie. And she and Curtis are like brother and sister, though he practically raised her.
Mhm.
Um, her aunt worked at the theater, and she was there all the time. And now every summer they have a jazz festival at the Black Academy, and Erica Badu opens the festival every year.
Wow.
Yeah, she is just very very chic and special. Um, so because of those camps, I was very busy trying to coach the children, reading lines with them, and the casting director I didn't know was paying attention to me.
Mm.
And so they chose the children that I worked with. And then I received a call one day and I said, okay, I have the name that I've got everybody's number for you. And the lady said, well, no, I need to make sure that I have all of your information. And I said, no, what you need my information for? And she said, well, you're playing Gwen, right? I said, who? What are you talking about? I was shocked. I said, no,
So
no,
you
no,
didn't even know that they had already cast you for Samuel L. Jackson's wife.
did not,
Wow.
did not. And didn't realize my connection to Samuel L. Jackson.
What's that
He had
connection?
been, he was attending Morehouse,
Okay.
and I was at Jackson State. And the National Association of Dramatic and Speech Arts was the only African American competition and convention in theater. We were not actively involved at that time with the American College Theater Festival. We
Mm.
were not invited. We were not accepted.
Yeah.
But we had the National Association of Dramatic and Speech Arts. And his teacher, Sam's teacher, Joan Lewis, was also one of the 27 people that attended Santa Barbara's Institute that summer.
Wow.
So she and my professor, E.J. Fisher, remained in touch. And every time we would go to the competition, they argued all the time because, like I said, every other year we would win and they
Mhm.
would win. So when other schools noted that we were there, other schools just felt really upset that the Clark Atlanta Morehouse group was coming and Jackson State University.
Mm.
And so Sam won Best Actor one year, and I won Best Actress one year. Then Sam was in another show, and we would see each other, but because our teachers were feuding, we didn't have anything to do with each other.
Right.
But we saw each other. I didn't know his name,
Mhm.
and he didn't really know my name, other than when it was time for us to go up to win our award. You know, the most things that we would think about is what school you were from, not who you are. What
Mhm.
school?
Okay.
Like a football, team.
Right.
The game you want Jackson State to win, and you're playing Southern. So
Mhm.
the people in the stands don't know the names of all the players, but
They
they
know the team.
they know Alcorn, they know Southern, they know Grambling.
That's
So
right.
when Sam and I were on the set, we decided we were having lunch together one day, and we were just laughing and talking and trying to get to know each other. And he said, I'm looking at you, Tonea. You really, they really should have just gone on and cast my wife.
Because you do y'all favor.
That's what he said. He said, you look so much like her. Why? I don't know why they didn't cast my wife. I said, well, because they needed you to have a new wife this time. Or something like
That's
that, I said.
right.
And when I laughed, he said, wait a minute. What's your name? I said, Tonea Stewart. He said, that's not your name. I said, I mean, that's my stage name. What is your name? And I told him. He said, where did you go to school? I said, Jackson State. He said, oh my God. No, you won't play my wife. And we laughed. I said, I don't know what's going through your mind. He said, didn't you go to NASA? I said, yeah. He said, I knew it. I knew it.
You
I
knew
knew
you'd
I
laugh.
seen you before. I said, you went to NASA? He said, yeah. I was John Lewis. I said, oh Lord. Oh, I'm not gonna play your wife. We had a time not playing your wife. You John Lewis' student. And it turns out that we had been knowing each other all
All that time.
for 4 years.
Came
We were there,
full circle, came back
full,
together.
full circle. And do you know, to this day, I still feel like a friend to Sam. Um, we communicate with each other via text. He is he's a genuinely real person, and so is Latanya. I went to their home when
Mhm.
I was nominated for an Image Award for A Time to Kill, and went to meet her. And when she got to the door, she said, "Oh hell!" She said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Look at you." She said, "Look at you."
Y'all really look alike. A
I said, "You
whole
know
lot.
what? We got to
Y'all
play
could be
sisters one
sisters.
day." Yeah, she's a real down to earth sister. She really is.
They seem
So
like you really, really are.
they both are. They really are. And God has smiled on them because because of the way they are. They're good people.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. So, Dr. Stewart, do you have any funny or interesting stories from auditionings? Any auditions?
Oh, Lord. I got a lot of stories, and I don't know whether they're funny, but I'm trying to think what would be a funny story. I don't. I can't.
Or interesting, just an interesting audition.
Oh, an audition?
Hmm.
I don't like auditioning.
You don't? Okay.
So every time I audition, I mean, it's stressful for me. I
Yeah.
do not like auditioning. I've been hoping for the day to come when I don't have to audition.
Yeah.
And Sam told me, he said, well, you may as well get rid of that because everybody auditions. I said, you don't audition. He said, well, now I don't, but everybody auditions.
Right.
Somebody may come up and want me to do something and still want me to read, and I have to do it
Hmm.
if I want to do the project. So
Right.
auditioning. The only stories that I have about that could be, uh, when I was in Mississippi and we were doing shows like Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and I
Hmm.
Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and um, the Satchel Paige Story, Don't Look Back. We were doing all of those shows, Minstrel Man, Nightmare in Badham County. I was so busy trying to get my students to be seen, taking
Mm.
them to auditions, that a lot of times I had to remember that I needed to audition too.
Yeah.
And then I would have to get them, after they finished their audition, to get in the corner with me and help
Mhm.
me prepare for my audition.
Right.
So it's been it's been interesting auditioning. I like the way we audition now. We don't. In the past, I had to get on an airplane or drive to
Mhm.
different places in the country to be seen in an audition. I've taken the red eye special to Hollywood more times than I want to remember, and it's very costly.
Yeah.
I've had to fly to North Carolina, fly to um, Chicago, different places, to Texas to audition.
Mhm.
But today, we prepare a video, download it to Actors Access. The casting director gets to look at it, and your chances are much more difficult than being in person.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's much more difficult because there's so many people sending those tapes in, and the casting director has to decide. Do I'm going to look at this one? I look at that one. I wonder sometimes if they really get to look
At all of them.
at it all because
Mhm.
there's so many. Because it's coming from all over the country. When you get a role in a show, you have had to rise to the top of a whole lot of people,
Yeah.
a whole lot of people. And sometimes it's just because you're the right height, you have the right look. It's not necessarily to do with the talent. It's
Mm.
because they're trying to get a family together and they need you to look like a family, to
Okay.
sound like a family. And if it's a husband and wife and the actor is short and the actress is taller, they try not to go to that, they try to make them look more like a normal pair.
Okay.
Um, so it just depends on what the playwright has put in that script about that actor. So auditioning for me, mm, well, yeah, I do have one interesting story. I don't know whether it's funny or not, but
Mhm.
With a Time to Kill, that was the one. Um, I did audition early on, and no, it was after they had settled with the children. I did audition. I had to go to Atlanta. The director, the playwright, the casting directors were all in the room at the hotel.
Mhm.
It was like a living room, and all of these actors were were
Oh, you're fine.
okay. Alicia, I'll call you back. I'm on a Zoom call. Okay, I'll call you back. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All of these actors, I mean, just there had to be 50 people in this big waiting room.
Mhm.
It was like a suite, and in this big living room of the suite were all of these actors, and
Mhm.
then the director, the writer, John Grisham, they were all in this living room. And when I got there, I was running a little late because the traffic had stopped me. My husband was driving, and he drives slower than I drive sometimes. So when we got there, I signed my name in, and we had to wait because other people had gone on ahead of me.
Mhm.
And when I walked in the room, I said, "Hello," and Georgie, I mean, the director said to me, uh, "Hello, Gwen." And
Mm.
I said, "No, I'm Tonea. I'm sorry, Gwen." He said, "I know," just like that. And he
Mhm.
said, "Tell me something about yourself." And I had been studying those lines, and I said, "Well," I started talking, and before I knew it, I had been in that room, I know, 20 minutes.
Mhm.
And that's long for an
That's
audition.
wrong for an audition. Okay.
Yeah. So we talked, we laughed, we cried. And when I came out, everybody was standing just waiting with their arms folded, looking at me. I felt like I had been
That's like,
confronted by a mob. And one guy walked up to me and said, "What you doing there, Tania? Get on the couch?"
wow.
I said, "Don't you ever speak to me again."
That's horrible.
I remember that. Now, that's why I said I'm thinking it would be funny.
Yeah, but no, it was interesting. It was interesting.
What you doing? I said, don't you ever speak to me again. And he ended up being in the movie too. And I guess he thought I just let it pass, but I will always remember that he said that to me. That's very low. I would never and have never, nobody, I guess I've always too other than black. Nobody ever even tried anything like that with me.
Right. How
But
dare
it just happened that we enjoyed each other. And I didn't realize that the character's name was Gwen until I got that call. And the lady said, you are playing Samuel Jackson's wife, aren't you?
Right.
And I said, what you mean? That was like 3 weeks later.
So
I'm
they had
thinking
already
everybody
chose.
was cast because the children were cast. The only role that I didn't work on was trying to help them find a Gwen. And they had all kinds of casting directors going everywhere looking for Gwen.
They had already found Gwen, Dr. Stewart. That's why you couldn't help them.
I guess I don't know.
Gwen.
That was very interesting.
That was. So
Yeah,
Dr.
I've had other strange experiences on the set. When we did Minstrel Man, we had to go to, we were filming at night, and it was in Natchez, Mississippi, and they used an old jail cell to put us in. And when I got into that jail cell, the jail, it was upstairs. I got the strongest and strangest sensation of an ancestral presence.
Wow.
That I started to weep. I just started weeping. I could feel the lives that were taken away. That was one strange experience. And then others, I've had directors to ignore me because of the superstars present.
Okay.
The circle that I have been in all of these years it still begin to sort of come together and close in. Like I met Della Reese when we were doing Nightmare in Badham County back in 1971. We hit it off so strong till she was trying to find a way to get me to come to Hollywood right after that show because she was going to have a spinoff from Sanford and Son. And she wanted me to be a part of that spinoff.
Wow.
And at that time, my daughter was a baby. And I said, I don't know how I can do that. What will I do with my baby? She said, bring your baby with you. I said, what do I do about my husband? Well, he could come sometimes, I said, I don't know. So it turns out that we just stayed in touch with each other. And Sanford himself had a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
And died. And then Della was close to him. So everything just sort of died out. And the show didn't happen. Well, later on, we were doing Mama Flora's Family. And who's on the set was Cicely Tyson and Della Reese. And the director was telling me where to go. Okay, Tonia, when you come in, you're going to go over there and you're going to go and get that wash bowl for her. Because I was always playing the maid. And Della Reese was a character in Mama Flora's Family that had some clout. But Della Reese is the kind of person that she has clout wherever she is anyway.
Right.
So the director said, now Della, she said, wait just a minute. I want my Tonia to come in here with me. And we need to get a feel of this room. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I admired her so much. So we got in the room, they closed the door. She said, he's not going to talk to me like that, telling me. So I listened to her and I laughed with her. And she said, he don't know. You're my sister. We've been sisters since 1971. And I felt so good.
I love that.
Yeah, she was just, that was my friend. That was my Della, my Della.
I love
Um, so that was one story. And another good one, this one is funny.
that.
It was with Cicely Tyson. Now I worked with Cicely Tyson on several shows. As a matter of fact, Della Reese wrote an episode of Touched by an Angel that she wanted me to be the star of. This is
Okay.
years later. Years later. And they flew me to Iowa. No, I'm sorry. Utah. To Utah. And when I got there, Della had to go for an award or something. She was away. And when I got to the set, the director told me that they'd made a slight change, that the star of the show would be Cicely Tyson, and I would play the other lady, not the role that Della had written for me. What did they do that for? Della came on that set when she returned. Where is my Tonea? I wrote this show for her. I wrote that role for her. So the producers and I'll call her to the side. She said, you better talk to me. I mean, she was loud.
Wow.
So that was that. Then later on, we did the Rosa Parks story. And Cicely Tyson was a part of that. And Cicely, by now, we have become, because we worked on Mama Flora's Family, we had become a little more comfortable with each other.
Right.
And we had worked on Touched by an Angel. So now we were working on, let me get it straight now. We had worked on Touched by an Angel, and we worked on Mama Flora's Family. Now we're working on the Rosa Parks story.
Okay.
Now the Rosa Parks story was set up to be filmed in Canada. And when I learned that they were going to Canada with it, I was curious about that. So it turns out that I was asked to read for the role of Johnny Carr, who was Rosa Parks' friend. And I said, oh, I would love to do that. Yes. And so the producer called me and said, well, we want you to play Johnny Carr. And he said, now, can you leave for Canada tomorrow? I said, why Canada? Why are we going? I don't understand. He said, you have a problem going to Canada? No, I don't have a problem. But everything happened with Rosa Parks right here in Montgomery, Alabama.
Right.
And a lot of the people who were there
are still alive.
Were still alive. I said, and they take pride in that. He said, yeah, but you know, Alabama's not giving us enough incentive money to do it there. So we have to go where we can afford. I said, how much money do you need? He said, we're going to need at least $300,000 cash, and we're going to need at least $300,000 in services. I said, will you give me 2 days? He said, beg your pardon? I said, give me 2 days and let me see if we can get you that $300,000. Why are you doing this? I said, because the people in Montgomery, they're proud of Rosa Parks, and they've held on to everything that can be evidence of her time here. And I said, so please give us a chance. He said, you know what, Tonea, I'm gonna take you up on that. So I contacted Senator Charles Steele and told him what was happening. And he said, $300,000, we can get that. Call him back and tell him, we got $300,000.
Wow.
I said, how are we gonna do that? He said, just call me. I called him. So he said, okay, if you got the 300,000, I need to see that in a certified letter, because I have people already in Canada ready. They're gonna have to come to Alabama now because we're getting ready to start. I said, let them come. We will help them. I said, and the 300,000 in in-kind services, I've already achieved that. I'll send that to you too, which was Senator Steele had gotten Mercedes-Benz to supply them with cars that they could use for the full shoot. I had gotten real estate people in the area to identify space that they could have an office, not pay anything, use copying machines. I had gotten people who knew how to do wardrobe, to work with them with wardrobe. We just got busy. And in 2 days, the movie turned around and came to Alabama.
Amazing.
And they never regretted it.
Amazing. I'm so glad you did that, because the authenticity would not have been in Canada.
Right.
The spirit of the whole Rosa Parks movement is in Montgomery, not in Canada. I'm so glad that you got
Yeah.
involved with that, Dr.
And
Stewart.
Rosa Parks was glad because she was living.
Yes.
Also,
Oh,
Coretta Scott King and you know, Dexter, no, yeah, Dexter, the son, played Dr. King.
sure did. Yeah.
And I was his coach. So I would spend time with him working on his lines and his inflections and that kind of thing. And he wrote a book about himself, and he put a chapter in the book talking about Tonea Stewart and his role that he played as an actor. That is one gorgeous man.
He's
He
handsome.
looks anything like his daddy, and they say he does.
Wow.
He is just absolutely pretty. And he was so easy to work with. But the funny thing was, Cicely Tyson,
Mm-hmm.
while here, every time she asked for something, somebody would tell her, "Okay, I'll check with Dr. Stewart and we'll get that. I'm sure she'll get that. I'm sure they'll get it for you." They would say they'll get it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted a driver to take her to a health food store. They said, "Well, let me go get Dr. Stewart. Somebody will come. I'll get Dr. Stewart." So I went by her trailer because we had a scene together.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Everything okay, sister? I want to know something. Everybody, no matter what you ask, they tell you they're gonna find Dr. Stewart. Have I met Dr. Stewart?" I said, "I didn't know what to do." I said, I don't know. Uh, I want to meet Dr. Stewart. I want to know this Dr. Stewart." I said, "Okay." So the wardrobe lady came in a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes later, because she and I just started talking about something else. And I was trying to figure out how was I going to let her know that I was Dr. Stewart. So
Right.
the wardrobe lady came in and she said, "Miss Tyson, I think we got this straight for you. And Dr. Stewart, we think." She said, "What did you say?" I dropped my head. She said, "Girl, I'm going to kick you." And we burst into laugh. She said, I'm around here trying to figure out who is Dr. Stewart. Is this Dr. Stewart?" And the wardrobe lady said, "Yes, that's Dr. Stewart." Oh my God.
Hilarious.
Funny. We just hugged and we stayed in touch for a long time after that.
So good that you have these relationships with these beautiful, iconic sisters. I mean, they were amazing. I mean, it's just Sojourner Truth, Harlem Night. I mean, it's just so many different uh, roles that they played, and we will always remember them. And you've been a part of that. That's so amazing.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But
Cicely and Jane Pittman, that was awesome.
that's what I mean. Jane Pittman, not Sojourner
Yeah,
Truth.
Jane
Thank you,
Pittman
Jane Pittman.
and
So
B. Richards and Roots and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner
yeah,
and Esther Roll and Good Times.
yes,
And do you know all of them that the circle gets even smaller?
yeah.
Spent time working with Frank Silvera,
Mm,
the same man
same man.
that gave me the concept of being. And right
Wow.
now I'm writing my book on his technique so that it would be something that I can leave for the younger generation.
Mhm.
Uh, they'll have something in their hand that they can follow
Right.
because Frank Silvera is the only African American that came up with an acting theory in the world. No one else.
Mhm.
So his theory is what I wrote my dissertation on,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to uh, itemize and specialize and indicate what he was teaching and what he was saying when he taught, because he was never able to really articulate what
Mhm.
being is. Neither could B. Richards. He gave us a statement as a definition of being that everybody quotes, but we're not sure how to make it come to fruition. And
Right.
that statement is, we exist in a complete and perfect state, lacking no essential characteristics. And that's what he taught.
Mhm.
Um, I had some wonderful experiences with Frank Silvera and with B. Richards. And that those experiences I'm putting into the book. I got my first draft is about complete now. And hopefully I'll be able to get it done.
You're gonna get it
Mhm.
done. You're gonna get it done. Absolutely. Dr. Stewart, you've talked about your kids quite a bit, and not only do you love acting, but you love teaching others to act. Why was it important for you to give back to other upcoming actors?
I believe that I've been walking on a chosen path that God gave me.
Mhm.
And if I'm going to be true as a vessel to the Father that I believe in, then I want to make sure that I dot every I and cross every T that I
Right.
can, that I articulate, that I validate, that I encourage and motivate every young person that I meet, because the God I serve never said he was going to come and meet us face to face and say to us, now this is what I want you to do.
Right.
But there are many verses in the Bible that leads to his disciples and to those that he chose as vessels and those that he chose to work through. And I just feel like I'm one of them.
Yes, we definitely are.
And I love being that. If that's who I am, and if that's the place where he has me, I am a willing vessel to be that.
I'm so glad you have been that willing vessel, because some amazing your former students have done some amazing things. One of your former students from Jackson State University, excuse me, Morocco Amari, was actually on my show last month, and he credits you for getting him on track and taking his acting seriously. What kind of student was Morocco?
Morocco was cute, first
Oh,
of
yes.
all.
Okay. Well, let me tell my story first. Hold on. So I was a freshman at Jackson State, and he was there, and I had no clue he was a theater major. I knew he was from Chicago, but I promise, it was like he walked in slow motion with this silk shirt and baggy
Yes,
pants. He was
yes.
so beautiful. And with my cousin Serena and I, we used to be like, hi, his name was his government name is Bernard.
That's right.
We would be like, hey Bernard. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But go ahead. I'm sorry. He was so
That's
handsome.
how it was over in the theater. The girls, the students,
Oh
the
my,
guys didn't like him.
honey,
Because
I was a voice major. Had I known he was in theater, I would have changed. I loved him. But go ahead. I'm
and
sorry.
and and he I saw him I saw him as an artist, and but he was allowing his art to be his play with the girls.
Yes.
So I tried to ring him in and talk to him about his future. And that's what I always do with my students. I'll even ask them, what do you really want to do? Where do you want to go when you leave here? Okay, then this is what we got to do to get there. And so Morocco always had a smart answer.
Mhm.
So I said, you're not being serious because you're trying to outwit me now. Because he's intelligent
Mhm.
and he can do that if you let him. I could not allow him to outwit me because I'm trying to help you, not hurt you. I'm
Yeah.
trying to lead you, not push you. I'm trying to guide you. So get ready to follow. And so I don't, he remembers specifically our conversation, but I do remember him coming into my office one day and wanting to know when were the auditions and what did I think about him. I said, wait a minute, what do you think about you? What are you doing? Nobody's just going to give you, the world is not out there to just give you what you want. You've got to earn it. And you've got to be serious about what you're doing. And right now, the thing I see you serious about is how many girls are following you down the hallway. And He smiled. He has those pretty teeth to smile. He couldn't
Mhm.
help it.
God did it. He couldn't help it.
He couldn't help it. So when if that moment with him gave him a start, I'm really proud of that
And
because I just
he
love him and
said
I
that you
just
told
love to
him.
see.
He
Hmm?
said, "I'm sorry to cut you off." He said that you told him that he had the gift, but
He
he
did.
didn't. He lacked discipline.
Hmm.
And you said, "What are you gonna do about it?" And he said, "I'm gonna join the military." He said, and that was November. And he said by February he was in the Marines.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Hmm.
So what kind of, I'm sorry, what does it mean to you to know that you was a part of his success as an actor?
It means the Lord sees and knows my heart.
Yeah.
and uh, and he ordered me what to do. He gave me the right words at the right time. Um, because young men like that can be so lost.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud that he is not lost, was not lost, and that he listened.
Mhm.
And in order for a person to listen to you, they have to trust you. And in order for them to trust you, they have to understand that you're genuinely for real
Yeah.
and you're being truthful with him. I didn't play with him. I didn't pet him, um, and none of the others. And many of them have done so well, and I'm so proud of them.
Yes.
But I just feel like it's God, not me.
Yeah. I'm so
I,
glad that you've been obedient though to allow God to direct your steps. You were purposed by design to do what you were doing.
I believe that. I really
I
do.
believe- Yeah. Dr. Stewart, July 2022, I stumbled upon a video of one of your students, and it surprised me because I had no idea that um, this student went to Alabama State University. I didn't know he was SWAC. I didn't, so of course I was like all excited about that. But you were on the Today Show with Stephen Twitch Boss. It was a very, very emotional reunion. I cried because it was just like I had no clue that you taught him and the impact that you had in his life. Um, I'm so glad that you were able to give him his flowers because a few short months later, we lost Twitch to suicide. And everybody since that, it was a week before Christmas, and ever since that time, me, everybody, you can see people talking about it on social media, and they still like, but he was so happy. Why did this happen? We don't understand. This is not, something happened to him, this blah, blah, blah. I'm getting, it upsets me because he was such a light. He was such an amazing young man. What kind of student was Twitch for you?
Okay, Twitch never attended Alabama State University.
Oh, you're
He was in the
second
summer
class.
camps,
I see. I got you
the
now.
summer camps.
Okay.
And I have been trying my best to understand myself because everything that I know about Twitch is good.
Yeah.
His smile, his positive response to whatever you're talking about,
Mhm.
his energy to dance and to help the next person dance. His creative, he's a very, very creative mind.
Mhm.
When students attend Alabama State and study the American theater being under me, I take them through some rigorous exercises and experiences because in order to be, you have to experience.
Mhm.
And Frank Severa taught that experience comes before the words, not the words, and then you find the experience. But you
Mhm.
have to experience before the words come. And I wonder, I've been dealing with this. It's very difficult for me.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can if I can articulate what I've been going through in relation to my twitch. Because you see, when he left Montgomery, he used to call, and whenever he had a decision to make, he would call.
Mhm.
I knew about Allison before he married her because he called, we talked. I checked my phone, I checked everywhere, emails, to see did he call or did he try to reach me, because I was accustomed to that.
Mhm.
But I found no evidence of that. And
Yeah.
so I guess what I'm trying to say is the training when they were at the university, and I had them every day for years, I took them through some rigorous experiences. With the summer camp, I didn't go that far because I was afraid that they were too young to
Okay.
deal with those subjects. Now I wonder if my judgment call was wrong, because I really believe, and this is really bad. My son Alan told me, and my youngest son too said, "Mama, you can't put yourself through that."
Yeah.
But I just wonder if I had had a chance to take him through some of those experiences, if he did commit suicide, and that's a real big if for me.
I know. I agree. I agree.
If he did, um, I don't think he would have,
Mhm.
with the being training that we have to date. Out of hundreds of students, that's the first one, well, really, I should say thousands, that I know of that has been labeled as a victim of suicide.
Yeah.
Now, several students have died from different illnesses and different things, but suicide is not one of them. And so I tried to think, I said, where did I miss? Where did I misstep? And the only thing I could come up with is I should have taken them through those rigorous experiences.
Mhm.
And I told my children that, and they said, Mama, don't do that.
No, you can't, because
But
he
I just
loved
wonder,
you. He
I
loved,
loved him at the go.
and it was evident. It was so evident, and that's why I was very emotional watching it, and I was so excited to know that you had touched his life, and like I said, little did we know a few months, because I've been a fan of his for some years now.
Oh yeah.
Um, his smile,
If you walked in a room with him and saw him, you become you feel an instant connection to it. He
yeah,
had a twinkle in his eye.
yes, he did.
He actually had a twinkle in his eye.
Mm.
And it's a great loss. And it's going to be painful for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's a great loss.
When it happened, I instantly, after I prayed for his wife and children, I thought about you, and I
Mm.
thought about that, um, the interview, and I cried because I was like, he was such an amazing light in this world, and in the world has not been the same since he's been gone. I didn't know him, but I know what he brought to so many people, um, on the Ellen show.
This might be naive of me, but I just believe that God is going to help him find a way
Yeah,
to give us peace, especially his mother.
I agree.
I just believe, when you think of the movie Ghost, remember,
I remember that.
yeah, when Swayze was trying to reach his wife,
Hmm.
I feel like Twitch is at that point.
Yeah,
And I think he's going to reach his mother. I just feel it. I just believe it. I talk with her about every 2 weeks now, just to see how she's doing, because that's a hard pill.
yeah, very hard.
very wonderful young man, very dedicated young man, very focused young man. We were talking about some upcoming projects that he was considering to do. He had just about 2 weeks earlier texted me the contact to his agent, um, and told me to send the information to him first so he could look it over and see if it was reading right for the, look, just little things like that. He and
Looking
Benita,
out for
J.
you.
Bernard Calloway, Benita Hamilton Caesar, Marcus Henderson from Get Out. I mean, they are Tim Ware. If I start calling names like the Charlie Hudson, I have to go down a list. They are always in touch.
Wow.
Leon and Michelle, my son Thomas. Now you're talking about somebody broke up. I was really worried about Thomas because they were in the camps together.
Okay.
Yeah, but I tell you, and I mean, he was in the camps from like 10 years old until, so we had a lot of time together.
Yeah. You named some of your former students, and I was going to actually name them too. You've had you've touched so many lives in acting. And if someone told you they wanted to be, well, no, I asked that last. That's your legacy, Dr. Stewart. That's that's a part of your beautiful, beautiful legacy.
Mm.
Your heart to help others. And if someone told you they wanted to be an actor, what advice would you give them?
Well, I get requests all the time like that, and I'm telling them to make sure that they understand the craft.
Yeah.
And if you really feel like that's what you want to do and you really want it, you're the best person to do it, because you have to love this field. You have to love this field so much that when there are times that you are alone, and there are many that those times come more often than not. You can be married, but when you're working on a show, you are alone, away from your partner and your family. You travel. Sometimes they have to go out of the country. You are alone. But make sure that you have a God power that you can call on. Make sure that you know what your limitations are and know what your strengths are.
Yes.
Prepare yourself physically, mentally, spiritually for the field. And you do that. That's what's in the book, telling you how to do that.
Okay.
And I hope that I can get it done and get it out there, because I really think it will help a lot of people.
I think you will. I think
Yeah,
God
when you know yourself that you've done your best, that's good. But when you allow yourself to be judged by others and you allow that to become paramount in your spirit, then you're letting somebody rain on your parade. You're letting somebody else take your joy and control your joy. If you know who you are and whose you are and what you have to offer, do that, be that. But do not allow your power, your presence, your essence to be at the mercy of somebody else. That's the one thing you don't want to do in this field. So when you go and audition and you don't make it, no does not mean never. It means not now. And you say, oh, that wasn't right for me. They had somebody else in mind, or I didn't match up to that star. My physical characteristics are not comparable to theirs. So that's okay. There'll be some more. And they keep coming. They'll keep coming.
Yeah.
The more and the more and the more.
You use the phrase all the time, And you said it on the show with Twitch. Well, I believe the young man who played in Get Out, he mentioned it. Tall trees catch much wind.
Yeah,
Tell us about that. Explain what does that mean?
I grew up in the Delta of Mississippi, and in Rolling Fork, they just had a horrible tornado. And we used to see the funnel clouds coming all the time. And my grandmother would say, look over there, the trees are bending, it's going to be some bad weather. And she said, well, look at the tall tree up there. That tree not going to break. It's not going to break. And so later on, we were talking, and she said, I told you tall trees catch much wind.
Wow.
It means that you may outgrow your immediate environment. You may become the subject of everybody's conversation. That's a tall tree. You may excel when you didn't even know you excelling. But whatever happens, the winds of life, the anger, the jealousy, the pettiness will come your way and try to break you. I was taught to bend with the wind, but don't break. You bounce back. In other words, feel the arrows. Know the jealousy. Mm-hmm. Recognize the two-faced backstabbing. Know it for what it is. And that's what Frank Silvera was teaching. Get the experience, but bounce back.
Bounce back.
Stand tall. Move on. You are not putting those arrows on you. That's somebody else.
Yeah.
You are not the force of the wind that's coming from somewhere else. You hold you together. So tall trees catch much wind. Let it come.
That's my new saying now.
Bend, but don't break.
Bend, but don't break. I love it.
Feel the air. So you don't know how tall you are until you bend.
I love it.
That's it.
I needed that. You just have no clue. I needed that. One last question, Dr. Stewart. How do you want to be remembered?
That I cared.
Yeah.
That I helped. And that I saw the beauty in the eyes of the young. Right now, I'm working on workforce development in the state of Alabama. And people are saying, why, what do you have to do with that? Arts and entertainment needs to be recognized as a workforce for this state. The Twitches, the Octave Dispensers, the Ricky Smileys, the list goes on and on and on of personalities that have made great names for themselves from this state. And where are they? They pick up and they go somewhere else.
Right.
But if the workforce development, if arts and entertainment is recognized as a major workforce, just like any other workforce, just like the truck drivers, just like the automobile industry, people in the arts are valuable. Even the politicians who vote on these things, they have to use those same.
Call from message run.
Wait a minute. I'm on the Zoom call. I'll call you back. All right. Not a politician has held a campaign and didn't use artists. If they had to do, if it was nothing more than their placards and their signs that are put in the yard, artists.
That's true.
The jingles that they use to get the attention of the public, artists. The dramatizations that they use, artists. So hey, it's almost the same kind of ignoring practice for teachers. Not a medical doctor has become a medical doctor that didn't have a teacher at some point.
They had to
Now,
have them.
the lawyer that's become a lawyer didn't have a teacher at some point. So let's lighten up um, this dark veil. Let's lift it and
Mhm.
see the truth. Artists
Yes, I
are
totally.
part of the workforce for any state.
They really are.
And so I'm working on a curriculum and a program now to try and enhance arts and entertainment as a workforce for the state of Alabama so that whenever anything comes up, a movie, a series, a concert, that certified practitioners that live in this state can work on those venues, those projects.
I love it. Dr. Stu, you are so amazing. You really, really are. I knew you were amazing, but I, I'm so thankful for you. You really are an amazing woman. Um, and we're so grateful. Like you said, everybody had to come through a teacher. I don't care who you are. And we're thankful for you and what you have done for so many young lives. And they appreciate you as well. We really, really do.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you for having me on. And I appreciate you for having a friendship with my son.
Yes.
Our children, my husband and I, we love them so much.
Yeah.
They have been so supportive. They've been giving. When I was growing up, my mother was a teacher, and my sister and I used to complain because she'd take our Easter dress and let a child in their PTA program wear the dress, and we didn't want anybody to wear our dress. She said, "You'll get another one next year because you're going to outgrow this one anyway." So she'd give the dress to the child. And so my children have been in the same way. They've had to give up a lot to help their mother achieve the work that she was doing. At Jackson State, when I taught there 20 years and then came to Alabama State University and been here 28 years. And they have been very supportive, every one of them.
That's a blessing.
And they take education seriously. And I'm glad of that. My youngest son is a editor and cameraman and director. He loves it. And he's out there in California. And his wife is one of the best actresses I have ever had a chance to direct.
Wow.
I mean, she is dynamite. And their children, the two girls are sharp as a tack. The baby, 3 years old, stands on her own. Nobody's going to run over her. And my daughter is a speech pathologist, and she heads her program. My goddaughter's a speech pathologist. My niece is a speech pathologist, and they are tops at their work.
Wow.
And they have their families that they love and work hard every day with the church. They all are very much involved in church. My oldest son that you know is an entrepreneur in addition to being a teacher for his company, where he trains people all over the world.
He's doing so well.
And I just love it when he says, "Mama, what do you need?" He stands up and just being the man. I just love it. And his
I
wife,
can see him too.
yeah, his wife is dynamite. She's just got her doctorate in psychology. We got psychologists in the family. We got speech pathologists. We got lawyers.
Wow.
Just proud of all of them. And my granddaughter's at Alan Jr.'s daughter. The oldest one will be in her senior year. This girl sings like a mockingbird.
Really?
Those notes, yes, Lord. She can hit notes and hold them, and you can feel, you can hear the vibrations in your ear. Just listen to her. I said, Madison, sing again. And she, with no effort, her junior high school music teacher said that she had perfect pitch. And the youngest daughter, with her big eyes and her pretty self, she's into modeling and acting and
so they got it honest.
Well, this girl, it's no telling what she will end up doing because she likes so many things.
Okay.
I can see in the 5 grandchildren, I feel like we have a medical doctor. I think we have a scientist. I think we have um, a camera director. I think we have what was it? The singer. She wants to do the scientific stuff. She's so smart. All of them are tops in their class. I'm so proud of them. But the youngest one just turned 4 years old. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one, honey. She's gonna put everybody into shape.
She's gonna do it. She's gonna do it.
No, I tell you,
Such
they're
a
lovely.
beautiful lineage and heritage. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But Dr. Stewart, before I go, I play a little game, and it's called "You Can Get With This" or "You Can Get With That." And what it is, it's a way for myself and the listeners to get to know the guest better. I'll ask you a few questions, and you choose the best one that fits you. No answer is wrong. Would you prefer success or happiness?
Happiness.
Happiness, absolutely. Passion or stability?
Passion.
Skill or popularity?
Skills.
I know you saw a lot of that in class. Would you rather see the future or change the past?
See the future, because we certainly can't change the past.
No, we cannot. I wish we could sometimes.
But you know what? You don't want to change the past, because what is the past is the past. And we must let that be our springboard to the future. So I want to see the future.
You're right. I had a doctor that told me never look back. Never look back.
That's what Satchel Paige said. He said, don't look back, something will be gaining on you.
Ooh. Well, let me stop looking back. Okay. Regret or doubt?
Which one do I want, regret or doubt?
I mean, I know you don't want either, but
Right.
regret or doubt?
Now that's a hard one for me, because I have to say regret. Because if I regret something, I'm going to make myself better. If I doubt something, I'm not sure what I'm doing. But if I've made a mistake, it's important to make good of it. Let that be a teaching moment.
I got you.
So I'd rather deal with regret than doubt.
Okay. Would you prefer massive success by accident or modest success on purpose?
Mine is success on purpose.
Yeah. Tell me why.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Would you prefer being cherished or respected?
Respected.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Respected, yeah.
Now I know you've already lived in this year, but would you prefer being in 1969 or 2069?
2069.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what's going to be going on around that time.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have been in 1969 because it seemed like Black people were really, really close and unified at that time. I don't know, but that's how I feel.
We have been really close and unified ever since they brought us here.
Okay.
If it had not been, we wouldn't be where we are.
Okay.
We were close and unified, but we always have cracks.
Mm-hmm.
And some people fall through the cracks and some things fall through the cracks.
I see.
But we still have a lot of people that jumped over the cracks.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Would you rather pause time or rewind time?
Pause.
Pause, yeah.
I believe in going forward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything in the past, the experience is a springboard to the future.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you try to go back and deal with the past and straighten out the past, you can't straighten it out, it's done.
It's done. You're right. You're right. Last but not least, Which movie did you prefer being in? Mississippi Burning or Time to Kill?
A Time to Kill.
Time to Kill. Awesome. Dr. Stewart, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Tell the listeners, do you dibble and dabble in social media at all? Do you be on?
Not really. I mean, when something comes on my email that says from Facebook that somebody sent something or tagged me, sometimes I'll check it.
Okay,
I saw
but you
one
never really on there.
earlier this morning where one of my students was talking about me and somebody sent it to me, and she said, I just can't believe that I'm doing what I'm doing now. But Doc used to say that. She would say, I'm sitting in the middle of greatness. I'm saying, we all looked at each other and said, what's wrong with her? What she means she's sitting in the middle of greatness? She said, and I was right there.
Right,
and she was saying that everybody in that group was going to be great. And she said, you know what? I'm great.
That's right.
And I wept when I saw that this morning. I did,
awesome.
because I just happened to just, every once in a while I'll click on it. When I clicked on it, she said, she had tears rolling down her eyes. She said, I'm great. I can't believe that I'm here doing what I'm doing. I'm here in Florida and everybody, oh my God, I'm great.
What a blessing.
Wasn't
That's
that
a
something? She
That's
said, I was sitting there and I didn't understand what she was saying, but now I do.
Now she understands it because she is great.
That's what she said.
That's right. Well, guys, you can follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook, She Say Sports 23 on Instagram, at She Say 23 on Twitter, and please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's the end of our segment of Women's History Month. It's been amazing. I had and she knocked it out the park for the Women's History Month. Thank you so much, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you.
And that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports.
Bye-bye.